the place where God is constantly growing us into the leader He's calling us to become. So, today, here's what I have to say to you. I have to say to you, don't be a coward. And you're thinking, I'm not a coward. That's kind of harsh. Well, here's a few things that cowards do that I want you to think and ask yourself, have I done this? I've heard people say before, well, it's leadership has said this, so we must do it. Or why do we have to do this? It comes from above. Like, those kind of statements are completely cowards. Anytime you are saying it's so and so, Brent said this, Leah said this, Sam said this, Olivia said this, Ruth said this. No, don't say that. That's being a coward. How about you as the leader stand up and say, this is the way forward, and so this is how we're going to do this, and here's why this is the best way. It is completely a coward that points up and says they told us to do this, so that's why we need to do it. Another thing a coward does is keep quiet. A coward sits and keeps quiet when they have more information that will help the situation, but they're scared of what people will think or how people will react. It's the coward that sits back and goes, I'm not going to say anything. It's also the coward that's afraid to fail, that sits and doesn't take action because they're afraid of failure, doesn't accept a new responsibility because they're afraid of failure. It's being a coward. And there's many more examples. We think that being a coward is this like when I'm scared of big things. No, we can be scared of small things too. You can be a coward with the small things as well. So what I want to be, for us to be, and for you to be, as leaders who are unafraid to stand on their own 2 feet and speak truth, regardless of what people will think of them. Because that's what it is most of the time, isn't it? Just speak truth. Forget, it came from above. No, this is why this is the best thing to do. Speak truth, because you're worried about what people will think of you. You think they're not going to like me, so let me make that person I'm talking to not like them. Well, that's being a coward. Like, being a coward just sits back and keeps quiet because they don't want to speak truth, because they're afraid of what something will happen. Being a coward is, I don't want to do that. I'm afraid I might fail at that. I won't say it out loud, but I'm just going to not do it or avoid it. That's being a coward. First, 2 Timothy, you know this verse, 7. For God gave us a spirit not of fear. That word there is weakness. God didn't give us a spirit of weakness, but of power, which is the opposite of weakness, and of love. And that love there is agape love, which is this love that, like, I'm going to take care of you and love you regardless of what's coming back at me. And self-control. Self-control means I know my boundaries. I know where I should operate, and I'm going to operate well and confidently in those areas. So, God gave us a spirit not of fear, but of power, love, and self-control. That is what He's calling us to be as leaders. Leaders that are full of power, love, and self-control. Not leaders who are passing the buck to somebody else. Not leaders who sit and keep quiet because they're scared of what's going to happen to them. Or not leaders who are afraid to fail, so they do nothing. They stay in their place of comfort. Because the truth is, the good stuff happens when we step out of the place of comfort. We like comfort, we like to insulate, we like to, stay quiet, just do my thing, and just, we feel like that's the best place. Well, you know what? You want to be in a place where God starts to really work? It's when you're out of that comfort zone. That's where God starts to work. When you step out of that into a place of, you know what? I'm going to boldly say some truth here, and I'm going to trust Him to care for me. I'm going to boldly act in this place of responsibility and authority that God's given me, regardless of what people will think of me. Because we're not called to be friends with everybody. We're not. We're called to love them, and sometimes that's risking a friendship. But we think friendship is our highest value. Friendship is the most important thing, so I'll do nothing because I don't want to hurt a friendship, or I don't want to make them feel bad. And it's weird why we think that is the most important thing, that people feel bad. The most important thing is that I love them. And often what goes right along with love is truth, right? And what's the opposite of that? This place of fear. Often it's fear that keeps us from speaking truth. So I want us to live in a place of power, in a place of love, in a place of self-control, trusting that God's got it covered.